What's going on, everyone? The core four of the Carpenter Sisters and the Meeks Twins. Over the last two films, they have really built and established and developed these four characters, which that's always been a big beauty of the Scream franchise, right? The longevity of some of these characters throughout the course of all these films, right? Think Gail, Dewey, Sidney. Randy was a big fixture that many people didn't want to see die, but ultimately did meet his end. And now you kind of have like that, like, what if Randy never died, right? You got Mindy, who's kind of like the Randy. You got Chad, who is the modern Dewey, literally. Like, just the way his entire arc and character development and everything has gone exactly the same. You have Tara as like the Gale, and guess what? Gale and Dewey, the modern Gale and Dewey, are officially together. They are following the exact same trajectory of the previous core characters that built the franchise, that were iconic, right? And then you have Sam as the Sidney. And this time around, the characters seem better perceived than they did after Scream 5. Now, of course, part of that is just like you're just getting introduced to new characters. You know, you kind of feel like you're saying goodbye to the old characters. It's that like you'll never be the original type thing, which is fair. I understand that. I get that. But now that you've had the opportunity to kind of take in these characters, see their growth, see what they've done with these characters, and then you have, very likely the transition into Scream 7, and these characters will very likely continue because they all survived, right? And who knows, maybe they will continue to survive. Now, I think at some point it's probably best to kill one, if not several of these core four characters. That was the whole point of killing Dewey, was to establish like the line of like nobody is safe, anybody can die. We're raising the stakes here. This is a different level of Scream. Only to then go and basically not kill anybody is kind of like, all right, like, I guess. But it's also good on the other side of that coin to continue to develop these characters, because if you develop these characters, then people will fall more and more in love. Thing is that the two like main characters, Sam being the like main focus, and Tara being that other sort of subsequent character that is sort of the focal point as far as like the storytelling, right? It's all about Sam and Tara's relationship and their dynamic, and their struggles, being sisters, and Sam being that overbearing sister, and Tara kind of wanting to be free and to her own devices and stuff. And there is a lot of talk about Scream 7, and both, if not at least Tara, Jenna Ortega, potentially not being in the upcoming Scream 7, that the people above want to get these films out ASAP, which makes sense, right? You got the hype, you have the relative success of Scream 5 and 6. You want to kind of ride that hype train and kind of continue the story and get as many films out as possible. Now, I think at some point we're going to get Scream 8, 9, 10, so on and so forth. The beauty of Scream is you could do Scream forever, right? That's the beauty point. And, you could always have a new Sidney, a new Sam, a new Tara, a new whatever, right? You can just, these characters are interchangeable over the course of time. Now, again, no one will ever be Sidney. She was the original. Just like at some point, no one will ever be Sam, so on and so forth. But you can continue the story and you can continue to go on. So they want to sort of power drive these films as much as possible. They paid a ton of money to go and get the rights to all these films. Now, it wasn't just Scream, it was a whole catalog, but Scream was the big name. That was the big blockbuster that they got the rights to. So they need to at least get their money back, which they're still in the hole. They're still far behind. And so it's in their best interest to pump out these films. That's why they're trying to scramble and figure out what to do. Radio silence, we'll see if they come back or not. And then these characters, right? Very possible that they could end up having a Scream 7 without Jenna Ortega or Melissa Barrera or both. But let's say both of them can't return. I've talked about the possibility of doing maybe like a Kirby, right? And have a Kirby generated story where she's kind of the main focus, because of what they established in Scream 6, it really opens the door for that possibility. Scream 6 really established that there are multiple Ghostface attacks all over the place, because that's what Kirby specializes in, Ghostface attacks. So you really open the door for like real expansion in this like almost Scream verse. That would be kind of cool. You could always go fresh start, have new group of characters that have some connection. Maybe you go full circle tie-in and kind of bring it back around once Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera can return. Now you got this full circle moment. Or you could just completely go a different direction. Say, hey, Scream 6 was conclusive enough. That was the end of like the Billy era. We're moving over here to this new era. We got these new characters, this new story, this new development. Cool. And they build and grow those characters that way. And it's kind of like a reset, right? That's another real possibility. But what if beyond those two, they just went with the Meeks Twins, right? I mean, you could have Mindy and Chad be the main focus, be the characters that a new Scream film centers around, right? Maybe Tara, she wants to be a free bird. She goes and does her own thing. Or maybe she's still going to school. Maybe she's on a trip, right? Maybe she's on a school trip or something. And so she's gone away. Maybe Sam, because Tara wants to go and do her thing, right? And she wants to, be a bird free from the cage. Maybe Sam and Danny, maybe they go on like a romantic thing, right? And they just go off and they go do their own thing, right? So you have like this established story of like, okay, Sam, she's away doing her thing. Tara, she's away doing her thing. It makes sense to the story. You build up. And now you got the Meeks Twins, who are front and center, and you kind of build the story around them. And you could kind of have them and a new group of characters kind of be involved. And then, maybe Scream 8, maybe Scream 7, you could even end it on a cliffhanger, right? And then that opens the door for Tara and Sam to return. And then Scream 8, you're back on track. Boom, here you go. Here's Sam and Tara back. And now we got the big showdown, right? Now we got the big climactic ending. That is something that they could definitely do. And really just have the Meeks Twins be a main focus. Fans really seem to like the Meeks Twins, right? It would also be cool to kind of see them get a little more shine, get developed a little more. It's something that was kind of talked about in the past, not with the Meeks Twins, but like they talked about maybe doing a spinoff with Dewey and Gale, and that was one of those like lost series that were talked about but never ended up developing. They wanted to have them kind of do like a buddy cop thing. Maybe you could do something like that, right? Where you have the Meeks Twins, who are just kind of like almost like a spin-off film where they're the main focus, they're the main target. They're just trying to survive. Maybe they're just like, we want to kill you to lure Sam back and lure Tara back, right? There are real targets, right? And now you kind of establish the story that has the full tie-in and full circle, but you have the Meeks Twins kind of front and center focus, right? Jasmine and Mason, I think, would do a great job. I think they're characters that people already bought into, characters that are already well established, all of that. Like, I think there's a real argument for that. That might actually end up being the best course of action if you weren't to have a Sam and Tara dynamic, right? Having, the Meeks Twins, who are legacy characters, have the blood tie-in, all of that stuff. You could kind of have this full circle thing. Or maybe it's even something where Ghostface is picking off the legacy in like parts, right? It's like, well, Chad and Mindy are just the first targets. Once we kill you, then we're going after Sam and Tara. Okay, cool. So now Mindy and Chad are trying to figure out who is it, how do we stop them, all that stuff before they get to Sam and Tara, right? And they give maybe Sam and Tara a heads up, and Sam's in, whatever. She's in Puerto Rico and, on the beach, living her best life. And Tara can't be contacted because she's at a school, function, school trip or something like that, right? There you go. You have an easy inherent alibi for those two as to why they're not in the film. And then you can kind of continue with 2 of the 4 main characters, continue to build and grow and develop their story, which would only benefit and elevate future films with them and the Carpenter Sisters. And then you could kind of have everybody kind of come back full circle. All is good, all is right. And there you go. I think that that's something that could be rather interesting, right? Like, I would love to learn more about Chad. I feel like we don't really know very much about Chad. Like, we know he's like the lovable jock, different type of jock. He's not like the jerky jock. He's kind of like the lovable, kind of almost goofy type guy. Mindy, she can be a little snobby, a little like blunt, movie buff type thing. But like, I feel like we don't know very much about these two. Like, we don't have a huge grasp on these 2 characters. That could be a way to kind of build that, develop that to a point where it's like, oh man, like, all right. Like, and who knows, maybe it works great. And that kind of becomes a new formula going forward, where like the way you establish like your main core characters is you have like a film dedicated to almost, the different pairings. That could be something that would be cool too. I don't mind it. Go out the expansion a little bit, try something a little different, be a little creative. I think that could be a lot of fun. I really do. I think that's something that could really work. But I don't know. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you love the idea of like having the Meeks Twins front and center for a film? If let's say Sam and Tara aren't able to do it, Melissa and Jenna. Or do you think like, no, like you got to do a Scream film with them? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comment section below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, follow with the bell notification, stay up to date with all things Scream, join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. See you all in the next one. Thank you.